Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Since 1998, Lanco Group has been providing superior civil engineering solutions and advice to developers, local government and service authorities across Australia. Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
Western United, can they find something here? Big chance, Barissa! He's done it again! And it's a goal! Unbelievable! What about this? Dylan Barrios, his first touch of the game. Sanchez! Western United do claim the 3 points. And Diamanti again! Oh, he's done it! Twice! He's chipped a keeper!
Presented by Simonds. It's the Green Room on FNR. Football Nation Radio. Beating the champions, breaking a membership record in the same week. You got to feel good in green and black this week. Welcome to the Green Room, the official Western United club show here on FNR Football Nation Radio with Josh and Lachie. Lachie Flanagan, what did you think of Saturday night?
It was a dream result for Western United, really. I don't think that game going into it, I don't think that could have gone much better, really. I think Western came there to the game with a specific plan for how to nullify Melbourne City. And I think for the most part, they did exactly that and scored a beautiful goal on the counter-attack as well. I mean, that pass through from Diamanti.
Oh, and the finish as well.
The finish.
Beautiful.
It was just a... What's the right adjective to describe that goal from Dylan Wenzel-Halls? I was going to use sumptuous, but I didn't...
I think it was precise, like a surgeon. Just right.
Arrowed.
Arrowed into the bottom corner. That's the approved language around that goal. A beautiful finish. I think John Aloisi would have been proud of that one if he'd scored it.
Yeah. I imagine he was looking on somewhat, a man who has historically scored a few goals at Amy Park in his pastime. Would have been quite envious of Dylan Wenzel-Halls as he strode through on goal in that particular moment. And great result for John Aloisi personally, just to get one over his former club as well. Always a good feeling, I would imagine.
I always forget about the Hart era John Aloisi.
It's a long time ago now.
Yeah, it's winding the clock back a little bit, but he's making new history with Western United, and it was a great result on Saturday night. A bit disappointing last night in the FFA Cup against Wellington Phoenix. Second string, a young side came out there and gave their all, and I think dictated most of the game at GMHBA Stadium, but that's sometimes the way of it in football. The team that takes their chances wins the day. Yeah,
I honestly, prior to that Ben Waine goal, and you have to give credit to Wellington, it was a very nice team move, a great cross in from Louis Fenton, good header from Ben Waine as well. He rose very high. But before that, it was really all Western United, and a lot of the young players were doing really well, and they were pushing for, an equaliser. Unfortunately, just couldn't find it in regular time and couldn't, break down. Well, they were able to break down Wellington, but not necessarily to the point where they're able to get that goal back. But I don't know. I think with such a large amount of change and so many young players that did come in, and if it must be said, performed quite well. We're going to be speaking to one of them pretty soon. Still plenty of positives to take out of that game, I think.
You mentioned it there, Lachie. What have we got coming up on the show tonight? A debutant who made his first team bow last night. He's really impressed in the junior setup in the NPL side, wearing the captain's armband no less, and has been rewarded with his first senior scholarship contract.
Yeah, well, if you couldn't figure it out from that description, we'll be talking very shortly to Western United defender Ben Collins, who, as you mentioned, did make his debut last night. We've got a bit of a youth theme, really, in this show, because we're speaking to Ben first up. Very promising young scholarship contract centre-back. A lot of promise around him. And then going to take a bit of a wider focus in the youth after we've spoken to Ben, because we'll be chatting to the first ever. It feels good to be like the inaugural of something. And that's exactly who the person we're talking to is. Anthony Frost, the inaugural Academy Director at Western United.
The Academy Inaugurator. Not a very catchy nickname.
That sounds pretty cool.
The Inaugurator?
If I put that on my LinkedIn, I'd be like, pretty awesome.
Sounds like it's starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. But in fact, it is Anthony Frost we'll be talking to in the second half of this show, the Academy Director for Western United. But first, Ben Collins on the other side of this break.
We are more than engineers. We are more than project managers. We are more than surveyors. We are more than infrastructure specialists. We are more than planners. So, who are we? We are problem solvers, providing the highest quality service and results. We are a team of skilled professionals, focused on customer needs and outcomes. We are 23 years of industry experience, adhering to the highest safety standards. We are Melbourne, and we are right across Victoria. We are the Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions. Lanco Group. We are more than you realise, and we are ready to partner with you.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants, and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website, dkpco.com.au, or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Penalty conceding kind of situation, but Atkinson did well.
Listening to FNR, Football Nation Radio.
Western United, can they find something here? Big chance, Barisha! He's done it again! And it's a goal! Unbelievable! What about this? Dylan Barrios, his first touch of the game. Sanchez! Western United do claim the 3 points. And Diamanti again!
Presented by Simonds. It's the Green Room on FNR, Football Nation Radio. That's right, it's the official Western United Club show coming to you live here on FNR, Football Nation Radio. Josh Parrish and Lachie Flanagan. Show presented proudly by Simonds Homes, the great Australian builder. We're very excited to have a guy who builds from the back. He's been built through the Western United Youth. I'm stretching here with the sponsorship plug. He made his first team debut last night. Ben Collins, welcome to the Green Room, and most of all, congratulations on making your first team bow.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here. Have a chat with you.
Now, we know it was a little bit of a disappointing result last night, but on a personal note for you, it must have been a proud moment stepping out onto that pitch.
Yeah, no, like you said, obviously, the result was a bit disappointing. yeah, but for myself, obviously my first team debut, which, you know, is something I've been waiting a while for, which obviously, you know, grew up wanting to achieve. So, yeah, personally last night, you know, it was exciting for me, but, yeah, just obviously a shame we couldn't get the result and, you know, we're not in the cup anymore, but yeah.
When did you know? When was this earmarked in advance, this fixture, as one that, you know, you'd be rotated in? Or when did John Aloisi tell you were playing?
Well, yeah, it was a bit of an interesting one. Like, you're never really sure what's going on. Obviously, the first FFA Cup we had, you know, we played a full strength team, and obviously this one being a midweek fixture in between, you know, two A-League games, there was, you know, obviously a possibility that he might rotate the squad, you know, in which he did. So, no, we really just found out, you know, a couple of days before the game, sort of what the squad would look like. But, you know, the starting 11 we didn't really know until the day of the game. So, no, it was pretty exciting to obviously, you know, get announced in the starting 11. But, yeah, it wasn't, you know, something that was in the works for a long time. But, yeah, it sort of just came together in that fashion, I guess.
So you didn't know until late on, but you had a feeling there might be some rotation, you know, up until the moment where you knew, where you're sort of walking around everywhere, you know, crossing your fingers, making sure you didn't travel under any ladders or anything like that. Were you trying to do that sort of superstition, or were you just trying to put your best out in training?
Yeah, I think, well, obviously probably, you know, first and foremost, you just do your best in training. And, yeah, like you said, I guess a few boys are sort of nervous or sort of, you know, hoping that they'd be in the squad. Yeah, but like you said, it's just sort of down to your performances at training and then up to the coaches to obviously pick the squad.
Yeah, well, in that game, you've obviously made a mention of how many youth talents got to feature against Wellington, like yourself, of course. But the same cannot be said for the player that you played beside in the centre of defence, Nikolai Topor-Stanley, which is no disrespect to him, but he's probably, and I don't have a record book to hand, but probably has more appearances than maybe the whole rest of the team combined. You know, he is an experienced defender. What was the experience for you like playing against or playing alongside NTS in your first game?
Yeah, he's been brilliant towards me. Not only yesterday, but, you know, since I've been training with him, you know, he's given me heaps of tips and sort of, you know, little insights on how to improve my game. And, you know, even in the game yesterday, he was obviously wore the captain's armband, and yeah, within the game, it was helping me a lot with my positioning. And also, to play alongside someone like him, you know, it was another one of those experiences which, you know, was a first for me. But yeah, he definitely really helped me get through the night, and he's helped me a lot over the last couple of months.
Well, speaking of captains, I mean, you've got some experience in that department, wearing the captain's armband for the NPL3 side last season. Has that always been something you've aspired to during your junior career? Have you often captained the teams you've been in?
I guess it's not something I really aspire to do. I'm not sure if it comes naturally, you know, to me. I guess juniors, I think I maybe captained, you know, my side here and there. It wasn't sort of something I did every single season, but yeah, obviously last season, captaining, you know, the NPL side, it was a privilege. Obviously, the first NPL team that Western United had as well, which, you know, makes it something, you know, a little bit more special as well. Obviously, that season got cut short because of COVID, but we were doing pretty well there as well. So, it was a great experience, you know, leading the boys there as well. I mean,
Steve Horvat spoke to us a couple of weeks ago about the whirlwind of putting together that side, you know, with a few weeks' notice and throwing it together, and it all working out a little bit better than they could possibly have expected. You guys were chasing promotion up until the suspension of the competition. Yeah,
I think it was not thrown together, but it was pretty late or towards the start of the season that it was all coming together. Yeah, but the boys obviously gelled really well, and, you know, the performances and the results sort of came from that. And, yeah, we're up there at the end of the year. I think we finished third, 1 point behind first and second before the season got shut down with COVID. And, you know, I'm not sure, we still had maybe 8 games left. I'm not too sure. But, you know, we could have done something. You never really know. But, yeah, it's a shame, you know, we didn't get to see what could have happened. But, yeah, it was a great experience.
So last night you had Captain Nikolai Topor-Stanley, you know, not marshalling you around, but being nice and vocal, you know, telling you where you should be positionally, you know, giving you a helping hand. How does that compare to your, you know, leadership style when you are in charge of that, you know, NPL3 side? Are you also quite vocal? Do you prefer to lead by example? What's your style like?
Yeah, I think naturally when you're an older player, you sort of can talk and feel more comfortable with the younger players, which is what obviously he was like to me yesterday. I think maybe yesterday, I'm not sure if I was a bit nervous or I was a bit quieter, but obviously in the youth team, I was one of the older boys. So I think naturally it just comes to you being an older player that you sort of talk and lead to the younger boys. So I guess it's similar in that aspect. Like I like to talk on the field and be a leader, but yeah, last night it was sort of, him and I was a bit nervous and maybe a bit quieter, but definitely, with the youth team, I was vocal and, trying to put my part on the game. So I think in that sense, it was similar.
Yeah, but I think that's absolutely fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with the young centre back of the two. Knowing your role. You don't want to. Last thing you want to do is step on.
I wouldn't be ordering NTS
step on
around.
Nikolai Topor-Stanley's toes. That's for sure. We have seen how hard he could kick a ball. So in years gone by. But how does that? You're maybe a little bit chattier in that younger team. How is that translated to your? The time that you spent in the senior side, this season. Obviously, we know, having spoken to a lot of the players, that is a training environment that's pretty lively. It's pretty chatty. How have you sort of gelled into that environment where there are a lot of movers and shakers, for lack of a better expression?
Yeah, I think I fitted in. Obviously, okay. I think you still have to bring your voice to the training ground. Everyone still has to talk. Everyone still has to, command the ball or demand the ball and, move plays around because you might have a better picture of the game. So I think everyone does have to talk on the ground. Some players, obviously, it comes to them a bit more natural and they do it a little bit more. But I think in that aspect, I've weaved into the team pretty well. Like I'm not, I like to use my voice as well and call for the ball. So in that sense, I think I'm fitted in with the team that way as well.
There was a couple of times where I saw the NPL side play last season, and one of the moments where I think you put a marker down was the away game against Preston Lions at BT Connor, where there's a giant crowd there, really intimidating atmosphere. They'd beaten both the other A-League youth sides by slender margins, but in that environment. And I mean, your group didn't shirk from that challenge at all. In fact, you probably could have gone on and won that match. It ended up being a draw.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing experience. I think at that time that would have been the biggest crowd I'd played in front of, or maybe still is to this stage. But we'd obviously done really well. It was a bit unfortunate not to get the result there, especially with them going down to 10 men. But yeah, that experience, was pretty surreal. I'm not sure how many people there were exactly, but, definitely a few thousand. So, that was unbelievable. And, we didn't go down to them. So, we got a point in a pretty hostile environment. So it was an amazing experience.
I remember at one point during the game, your centre-back partner, Ajax, strode forward with the ball and just unleashed this unbelievable shot that struck the base of the post from about 30 metres out. And we've seen a few Western United defenders go on adventures this season. Leo Lachie and even Tomoki was stepping out with the ball in round one. And you went forward on one occasion last night in the FFA Cup game. Is that something that the club emphasises, centre-backs with the ability to play the ball and step into midfield where necessary?
Yeah, I think, definitely they want, centre halves naturally these days in the modern game, have to be pretty comfortable on the ball and be able to play those sort of passes. I'm not sure, how far into midfield they want you taking the ball. But I know I had one shot yesterday, which I think it nearly went out for a throw-in. But, something I'm not sure. It just sort of comes to me if the space opens up, I'd just like to, sort of take the game on and take the space and, try and draw one of the defenders out to slip someone else in or create a goal scoring opportunity. But, Ajax shot against Preston Lions. If that went in, that would have been pretty
goal of the season if it goes in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, because can you take me through a little bit of that mindset? Like as someone who's not a centre-back and is usually, quite used to just watching other centre-backs do their thing, when you do get that space to open up, and as Josh said, we've seen a few of the Western United centre-backs do it this season, is it something that you're like conscious of? Like there's space ahead of me, like I should take this ball forward and have a shot? Or is it just like an instinctive thing? you take a few strides and before you know it, you're on the edge of the penalty area and you can pop off a shot. Like, how does that actually play into your mind when you get the ball and you see space ahead? Is it just something you do without thinking about? Or are you thinking like, hey, what a great way to mark my starting debut than with a mazy run and
up in
banging
lights.
finish? What's the process
I don't
like?
think so much the latter, but I think, it just sort of, it just sort of happens. As a centre back, normally, trying to play it side to side, play into your midfield for something to open up that way. But every now and then, maybe the opposition's caught out of position and there's sort of a line towards that you can take the ball with forward and it just sort of opens up. And then, like you said, it just sort of, you take 2-3 touches and then you've drawn out another defender and you're halfway to goal and you can, slip someone in or something like that. So I don't think it's something you actively think about and like, this would be amazing if I took on the whole team and scored a goal. But, if it opens up, I think the opportunity's there. And, like you touched on, a few of the boys have done it in the last few rounds. So, I think it just comes naturally.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of train of thought of how good would it be if I took this all the way up the field and scored is probably more of a FIFA mentality as opposed to it. It's probably why you're an A-League player and I am not.
Or Lachie in the FNR corporate team at the end of the year.
Wow.
Ben, we were talking to Lachie Wales last week and he was talking about how he's watching more football these days and trying to model some of the things he does off, some of the world's best players. He loves watching Liverpool and, Mane and Salah. Are there any players that you've modelled your game after? Any footballing heroes?
Not really, one player in particular. I think you take bits and pieces from, you see a clip and you take something, from that player. You see a clip and you take something from another player. I think at the moment for me, though, I'm just sort of learning from the players we have actually at Western, Leo, Nikolai, they talk to me a lot about, positioning and sort of how to read the game as a centre-back. Even a few of the midfielders like Neil Kilkenny, goalkeeper Jamie Young, he's helped me heaps as well. So, I think Leo and Topper have definitely, given me guidance on sort of what to do in that aspect. I think, I obviously watch other games, professional games around the world as well, and you take little bits and pieces from each player. But, I don't think there's one sort of player I'd like to model my game on. I just take bits from different people and then, try and sort of put it all together in my own style.
Well, can you elaborate a little bit about that centre-back environment and your experience of stepping into it? Because, as you said, it is a pretty strong contingent at the moment. I mean, you could make the argument, at least I will make the argument on the club show, that Tomoki Amaya and Leo Lacroix are the best centre-back pairing in the league at the moment. But you've got the CV of Leo, the experience of Nikolai Topor-Stanley, and obviously Tomoki is the incumbent player of the season. That must just be, as a young centre-back trying to develop his game, must just be a dream environment for yourself.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that until a couple of weeks ago. But, like you said, it's a pretty solid lineup at the back. I think we haven't conceded a goal from open play in the A-League yet, which, is a pretty nice stat to have. So hopefully that continues. But, it's pretty incredible to think about. There's, obviously Swiss international and Tomoki, and obviously Nikolai has represented the Socceroos as well, all sort of on my side and trying to help me as a player as well. So, they've all been, brilliant. And, it's sort of something, players you can learn off that you can't really get many other places. So, in terms of them helping me, it's something that, I don't take for granted. And, I try and take something from them, every day, every training session and just make myself better.
Let's rewind a little bit, talk about your football upbringing. I mean, you were at Northcote City before Western United. How did you get into football? Is it something that your parents or your family drilled into you? Is it something you just picked up when you were young and realised you were good at it? Or
I think my dad used to play in the sort of the Victorian Soccer League back in the day. And then, just when I was young, he just signed me up to sort of the local club. He was my coach for probably like 5 years, 6 years. And I just played there. And then, moved to the state team when I was under 13s in the Skillaroos there. And then from there, I was at Northcote from under 14s up all the way up through my juniors until a couple of years in the seniors before I moved over to Western. So, Northcote, I guess, is sort of my boyhood club, and yeah, they've been brilliant to me sort of these last couple of years moving to Western and whatever. But yeah, I've been there. I think I was there for 7-8 years. So yeah, that was sort of my boyhood club, and I just, yeah, as a junior and even a bit younger, I just sort of always stuck soccer out. I mean, you know, I had friends playing AFL and sort of trying to convince me to come and switch codes, but yeah, I stuck it all out, and I guess now it's worth it, isn't it? So yeah.
I mean, your dad must be pretty proud with your first professional contract this season.
Yeah, no, he's pretty excited. He yeah, at all the games, he's taking as many photos as he can and looking on Facebook and sharing everything that he can. So no, he's pretty proud, which, you know, he's obviously good, and yeah, he's put a lot, you know, into me, as well as my mum, driving me to training sessions and whatever when I was younger. So they're proud, and fair enough too.
Can I ask just quickly on your dad, you know, loving to get photos of you as a professional? When you guys went to games in the past, was he like insistent on you getting photos with players and that sort of thing? Because I know my dad was like, every time there was a player walking past, he was like, you got to get a photo. You got to get a photo. And I was so nervous, but what was it like for you?
Yeah, I think my dad's also a big AFL fan, so even at AFL matches, he'd like to do that there as well. But yeah, A-League matches as well, like, you know, it's the same. You want a photo of me, you know, at the stand, or, you know, we've been over to England once, and yeah, he was loving taking photos of me at all the stadiums sort of over there as well, which, you know, and now he's taking photos of me, so it's funny that way. But yeah, no, it's now I'm on the other side of it, and like even last night, there's kids coming up to you taking photos, wanting your jersey, you know, wanting high five. So no, it's sort of come full circle, I guess, which is
that must be a pretty surreal turnaround for you.
Yeah, well, yeah, like last night, yeah, like after the game, you know, everyone wanting high fives and yeah, asking for your jersey. I'm sort of, I don't know what to say because I've never really had that happen to me before. But no, it's obviously unreal, and yeah, love the support, so it's good.
Surely that first jersey you want to keep though. Did you end up giving it away?
No, last night everyone was asking for it, and in the back of my head I wanted to keep it for myself because it was my first one, so I couldn't give it away. So, but I hang on to that one.
Yeah, get that one framed for sure.
Yeah. Well, all of that sort of that junior journey has led to where you are now. You're obviously making your debut last night, but the senior, you know, the scholarship contract that you've signed, you signed, I think, fairly late into the piece. I think it's only 3 weeks ago that you signed that deal. Can you take us through the time between sort of, you know, going into lockdown, the end of the NPL three season, and, you know, progressing now into signing that pro deal? Like, how did that whole experience come together for you?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy and sort of a whirlwind couple of months. Obviously, yeah, the NPL season got shut down, and I think we're in lockdown for a couple of weeks, and then the A-League team started their pre-season up, and yeah, I was invited to sort of train with them for a couple of weeks, see how it went, and I just sort of kept being invited back and kept hanging on there, and so I was training with them full time basically the whole of pre-season, you know, just trying to obviously prove myself to the coaches, hoping that the scholarship contract would sort of be the end result. So yeah, played in a few practice matches and obviously, you know, trained and tried to do my best at training. And then, yeah, I think a week or two, maybe a few weeks before the season, they, I was, yeah, had a meeting with them, and they offered me the scholarship contract, which, you know, was a dream come true as well, because that's what you sort of grow up, you know, dreaming of doing, becoming a professional footballer. And sort of, it's weird to say that now that that's what I'm doing, but yeah, it was a crazy couple of weeks or a couple of months, but now it's all sorted and settled down, so I can just focus on, you know, training and playing. So it's, yeah.
Well, given the fact that you brought him up before and that you've shared this connection in football with him for such a long time, was that first phone call to your dad? Or at least when your first conversation you had with him, what did you say?
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a blur now, but yeah, I just obviously told him that they'd offered me a contract, and yeah, well, he was pretty excited. But yeah, it was over the phone. So, but then, yeah, when I saw him in person, you know, he was even more excited for me, and, you know, gave me a big hug and whatever. So, no, it was, you know, a special moment, and yeah, something, you know, I'll look back on sort of forever.
Well, what are your aspirations for this season then, Ben? I mean, obviously learning off some experienced defenders there. Are you hoping to make your senior bow in the league as well? And I mean, we've seen some of your teammates, Adisu Bai, representing the Olyroos, so that carrot's there at junior national team as well.
Yeah, Adisu, I was with him in the NPL, and now he's obviously gone and done that, which is unbelievable for him. But yeah, for me, obviously, I think I just got to keep learning and improving at training, and then hopefully that A-League debut comes soon. But obviously there's no guarantees, and it's just up to sort of me. I've got the opportunity now, so yeah, it's up to my performances at training, and then hopefully there's an opportunity in an A-League game in the future. So I think for me that's where I'm at now. But yes, hopefully it opens up soon.
And you've got obviously Adisu, Ajak as well. It must be exciting for all of those sort of young players who at one point were cobbled together to form this NPL3 team. Now that you're all starting to get that chance in the senior side, it must be a real motivating factor for you to all be able to sort of work together and push towards that same goal. Yeah, no,
it's pretty surreal to sort of look back on. I think maybe there's 4 of us now with Reece Bozanovsky as well that was in the youth team. Even Charlie Emery, the goalkeeper, sat on the bench a couple of times last year. So no, it just shows that obviously if you're in and about the academy, you're doing well. That there's definitely opportunities at Western United. So we sort of sometimes we talk to each other about it and sort of look back on where we were 7 months ago, waking up for training, sort of at 7 a.m. and grinding it out there and sort of now we're obviously with the first team. So it's pretty unbelievable.
Well, Ben, you've come a long way in a short space of time, and I'm sure the future is bright for you by the sounds of things, with the faith that the club has in you and what John Aloisi's been saying about you. So congratulations on your debut, and hopefully we'll catch up with you down the track and check in on how your football journey's going.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. Ben Collins, debutant in the first team, our first guest here on the Green Room this week. And after the break, continuing on the youth theme, who have we got coming up, Lachie?
Anthony Frost.
Academy Director Anthony Frost will be joining us on the other side of this break to talk about those pathways for the young players, which Ben here is evidence of. So stay with us.
Since 1998, Lanco Group has been providing superior civil engineering solutions and advice to developers, local government and service authorities across Australia. Lanco Group is known for delivering sustainable, efficient solutions. By working closely with clients, Lanco Group is able to meet the complex infrastructure requirements for residential, commercial and industrial developments on time, on budget. Find out more at lancogroup.com.au. Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions.
Are you looking to change your destiny in life? Be your own boss? Start your own business? If you are, you need people who understand your needs and are committed to helping you make it happen. At DKP & Co Chartered Accountants, we are more than just accountants. We are business advisors, taxation consultants and strategists that specialise in setting up businesses. We understand the client and give them the very best customised advice and strategies to achieve their goals. Visit our website dkpco.com.au or give us a call today on 03 9023 9370. Fast, proactive, personal. That's DKP & Co Chartered Accountants.
Ronaldinho gathers speed, past Ramos. Elguera comes to meet him. He goes past Elguera. Ronaldinho at his very best. Unstoppable.
You're listening to FNR, Football Nation Radio.
Western United, can they find something here? Big chance, Barissa! He's done it again! And it's a goal! Unbelievable! What about this? Dylan Barrios, his first touch of the game. Sanchez! Western United do claim the 3 points. And Diamante again! Oh, he's done it! Twice! He's chipped a keeper!
Presented by Simonds. It's the Green Room on FNR, Football Nation Radio. That's right. We're doing it for Simonds Homes today, the great Australian builder, here on the Green Room with Josh Parrish and Lachie Flanagan. And our next guest is the new Academy Director of Western United, Anthony Frost. Welcome to the Green Room.
Thanks very much, guys. It's a pleasure to be here.
How are you settling into the club? How's your first couple of weeks in the role been?
Yeah, it's been great. Everyone's been really welcoming and really friendly. It's obviously different. It's a change of scene, but really exciting for me, and obviously looking forward to getting my hands dirty and getting stuck into the role. So it's been great so far. Really good.
Well, take us through your coaching journey then, because you're a young guy, but you've got quite a few years of experience under your belt. Yeah,
so I guess my coaching journey started quite early. I had a bad break when I was playing. I used to play for Eastern Lions. That was my last club. So shout out to Eastern Lions. They're doing well at the moment, NPL 1. And yeah, that sort of turned my attention to coaching. I was able to sort of double up my studies with my passion for coaching. I worked through my badges. My first sort of coaching opportunity was sort of with the state teams through Victoria and the NTC program, slowly working up to having a full-time role in football with Football Victoria, and then continued on with the Skillaroos. Then an opportunity came up to work at FFA in coach development. Then national teams, Melbourne City. So yeah, there's been a number of coaching positions along the way, and the most important thing for me was having exposure in good environments and working under good people. So I've been lucky in that sense to have had some really good mentors along the way, and been fortunate to I guess be the product of those environments and those people, which is great. So it's exciting. That sort of led me to this point, and obviously the role, which is a big one, but really, really special opportunity to try and shape an academy with almost a blank slate, and something that the club can be really proud of for many years to come. So yeah, look, it's been enjoyable so far, and I'm hopeful that the years ahead is going to be just as fruitful.
Oh, we've got plenty to dig into there, but you may have noticed myself and Lachie's ears both perk up at the mention of the Eastern Lions. We commentate the NPL, so they're a bit of a sentimental favourite here, I think is fair to say. It's always... I think there's a little Welsh microclimate that descends over that stadium. It's always raining for some reason. They always, punch above their weight. It must be surreal to see them in the top flight.
It's unbelievable. It's there are so many people down there that have been affiliated for the club for so long, and it's a testament to their work and their passion for the game that it's led them to that position, and hopefully if things continue to go well for them. So yeah, it's hopefully we can join them one day in NPL 1 and but you'd be commentating our game, so I don't know, you might be a bit torn. Who are you going to support?
Can't support anyone when we're behind the mic.
Comment.
Yeah,
neutral.
But it's a good.
We're just
people,
happy for
great club.
football. That's the real winner here. That's the real winner. But the other reason my ears pricked up when you mentioned the Eastern Lions is because instantly my brain was like, I know there's a connection somewhere between Eastern and Western United, and I figured out what it is. Obviously, you won't only be the academy director, but you'll be in charge of the NPL side for season 2022. And of course, one of those young players that you'll be in charge of is James Doyle, who's come across from Eastern Lions to Western United. Having followed started out at a similar place as a young player, in the same place as James, it must be exciting for you to see a player make that jump to the club you're currently at.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny, seeing James a couple of weeks ago at the club. We first met when he was in the Skillaroos program. It's nice to sort of see that progression, that transition for those young players, obviously finding their way in the game and getting an opportunity, and obviously grasping that opportunity wholeheartedly. So it's great to see, and for me, that's the reason why I love doing what I do and working with and developing young players, because you're a part of their journey from a young age, and you can support them as best you can, and if they can fulfill their dreams and ambitions to reach to the highest level, then you've done your job. So it's great to see James and obviously other players kicking on. It's really, really good.
Well, Eastern Lions is obviously your sort of club as you came up, but the most recent club that you're joining Western United from is Melbourne City. You're an academy coach there, of course, and something you were talking about before is the idea of building this program from the ground up. Like, you're not just the new academy director, you are the inaugural academy director. I imagine that sense of being able to really put this program together in your image and work with the club, I can only imagine that was a big part of the reason behind the switch from Melbourne City.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as I said, it's a special opportunity, and you only get one shot. So, it's exciting for the club, but exciting for me, and as I said, a big reason why I'm attracted to the role and the chance to come across. So it means that I've got an opportunity to take, I guess, the experiences I've had in different roles and different environments, and try and obviously take into consideration the context, so the club, and make sure that there's a really clear connection with the West, and we don't just copy and paste. We make sure that something is bespoke and really specific for us as a club, and what we value, and how we want to be perceived, and the sort of football that we want to play, the plays that we want to produce. It's exciting. It's exciting, and I think for anyone that, the selling point for me, bringing in players, bringing in coaching staff, support staff, is that they can be a part of that journey, and really shape things in the direction that we want to go. So, it's I think I've said exciting about 10 times, but it's a great opportunity.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Tell us about your plans for the academy. I mean, how far does the club plan to go down the age groups? Where does it overlap with community football and local clubs? Because we hear stories in England about Chelsea scouting 8-year-olds or whatever, but surely we're not going down that far.
No, I think look, there are different opinions about that type of approach, but for us, we've obviously got the two teams at the moment, our under 23s and under 21s that play in the senior NPL competition, BL3. But the intent for 2023 is to have 4 additional teams. So those teams would be in the junior NPL competition. Mm-hmm. So the starting point would be under 14s. There's an under 15s, under 16s, and then an under 18s team. So all up, it'd be 6 teams in total in that academy, the academy age groups. But I guess, there are other examples of clubs that have had training programs for younger players that, it's a starting point potentially where young players have an opportunity to come in maybe once a week and get some exposure to the way that we want to play, the way that we the way that the sort of players that we want to develop. There's definitely those opportunities potentially on the table. I think ultimately for us and any club, we want to make sure that we are attracting the best talent possible. Ideally, that talent is from the West. So super important that, and a big part of, I guess, my role is to make sure that we have a clear connection, a clear or a strong relationship with the clubs that ultimately are going to be providing players for us. And we acknowledge that they do an incredible job in working with players from a young age and setting the foundation for us to come in and obviously help them, support them, move on to the next level. So I guess it's about making sure that we provide the best possible experience for our players, and we start that from the under 14 age group and obviously move up Yeah.
I mean, that communication and connection with local clubs is a really important facet of what you're doing. But can you take us through some of the other sort of elements that your role as an academy director sort of feeds into? Like, obviously getting those teams, those lower age groups set up to play is probably a primary focus at the moment. But do you have much to do as well with sort of, you know, the philosophy and the style and the approach that those teams take? And do you negotiate a lot with the club on what that kind of vision looks like as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, that's a really attractive part of the role, is that you get to shape that philosophy or a game model or the sort of player ultimately that we would ideally like to create. But you've got to try and find that balance, and particularly, you know, me working with the under 23 age group at the moment, you've got to make sure that there's that continuity between the first team and also the youth team below. So we're making sure that we're giving young players the best possible opportunity to make that jump into the A-League space. So we're mindful that, you know, if we're on a completely different page to the first team, we're not giving our young players and our best talent the best possibility of making that jump. So it's about trying to find that balance. But in terms of our philosophy, obviously the club and you know, having really good discussions with Steve Horvat, who I know was on your show, you know, previously, about, you know, what best represents the West. What does a team from the West and Western United embody? And how can we make sure that the players that go through our academy are a representation of the West and what, you know, those values are. So I think, you know, we want aggressive players. We want players that are creative. We want players that are intelligent. We want to play a brand of football that's proactive in all moments of the game. And we're mindful as well that, you know, those players need to not just perform for Western United, but they can also perform at international level as well. So that's what, you know, our ambitions are. We're preparing players for the highest possible level. So yeah, absolutely. We're excited to, I guess, make sure that there's a clear philosophy in place all throughout the academy.
I mean, that's really important that the players are, you know, adaptable enough, as you said, to go into the senior team no matter who's coaching them. Because, you know, we all hope that the incumbent head coach has an incredible success and sets up a dynasty, but oftentimes in football, coaches do come and go. So, you know, the players have to be prepared and adaptable enough to meet the demands of whoever's at the helm.
Yeah, spot on. Exactly right. And I think that's where we don't just cross our fingers and hope that we produce those types of players. It's clearly planned, clearly thought out, making sure that we have, you know, periodized plans or certain outcomes that we expect to achieve year on year. And I guess that, you know, you think of building blocks, and if the under 14 age group is one building block, hopefully by the end, you've got, you know, the complete package, or, you know, a jigsaw puzzle. You've got pieces of the jigsaw. How do we make sure that those pieces come together in the right manner to complete, you know, a full picture? So when that player progresses, then, you know, ultimately they're set up for success. So yeah, it's an exciting part of the job. Absolutely.
Well, on the idea of the academy embodying that spirit and identity of the West, you mentioned a lot of player attributes that we see as desirable and being linked in with that idea. But to what extent does sort of mental qualities, and if you'll excuse a Brendan Rodgersism, like character, kind of play into that as well? Are there certain attributes from that mental side that you're also sort of really looking to tap into in players that are coming through?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's enough evidence to suggest that, you know, players with a strength of character, that grit, that mindset that you require to you know, perform at the highest level under pressure, it's undeniable. So I think for us, it's not just put some cones out and let the players play, and obviously we'll work on technique and tactics, but it's how do we integrate social development skills? How do we integrate the type of resilience required to obviously push through difficult times, difficult situations, and come back stronger for that. So I think we embed that within our program, so that might be, I guess, filtered in and unknowingly filtered into the players, but it's also coupled with educational support for parents, support for players away from the training pitch that we provide to the group to make sure that that they have all the tools necessary to give them the best chance of progressing, because we know that not everyone's going to progress to the highest level, and we want to make sure that we're preparing good people at the end of, let's say, their academy journey. If they don't progress to being a professional player, they've got the traits and the right characteristics to, I guess, be a strong contributor to our community. So that's it's an important part of our academy as well. We're not just developing footballers, we're developing people. So I think all of those psychological traits are a huge part of what we do in the academy, and we're going from 40 players to 120 players in 2023. It means that we need to make sure that that support is provided, and obviously a bit of work to do to put some of those things in place. But I'm thankful that the club acknowledges that those things are necessary, and again we're going to benefit in the long term because of those things. Yeah.
Well, with that in mind, I mean, what did you make of the current squad that you're coming in to coach? I mean, you've been left in a pretty good position. Obviously, a premature end to last season's campaign, but it was an outstanding effort from a new group of players trying to gel together and really putting themselves in the mix for promotion until we had to stop the whole comp. That must be exciting. Obviously, some of these guys will get pinched by the senior team and some of them will bounce between, but it's a pretty interesting group of players at your disposal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think looking at the current list and even looking at the game last night and the players that were involved there, some of those boys will be involved in the senior NPL team, which is really exciting. And for me, it's great to work with the best players, and if they get stolen from me, then that's great. It means
you've done your job.
Exactly right. Yeah. Well, obviously, I'm thankful for the staff that have come before me and done great work already, and hopefully we continue that. But we've got great examples for even our youngest players hoping to progress into the senior team. So you got players like Reese Bozanovsky, who's obviously picked up a scholarship. Adisu's flying at the moment. Benny Collins has come in, and potentially he may be involved in our group. Sabit James came off on the bench last night as well. You can reel off a number of names there, but super exciting for the club. And I'd say get down to Caroline Springs, George Cross once the fixtures come out, and put them in the calendar, because it's going to be exciting to see some of those top talents playing, and obviously we want them to be playing in the A-League, but if we're fortunate enough to have them, then that's great, and obviously important for them to be getting game time as well for their development.
Well, it's a competitive league, obviously, playing against a lot of fully grown men, but I was talking to a parent of a promising young player who does play in the NPL 1, and the dilemma for him was, his son wants to play first team football at the highest level he can, but all the A-League NPL squads are all in NPL 3. So going to that better maybe training environment would actually mean sacrificing that experience. So, I mean, is that the target, promotion?
Yeah, look, I think so. I think we acknowledge that you got to find that balance between development and results. I think we'd ideally be in the best possible competition to make sure that we're bridging that gap between the youth team and the A-League is as small as possible. And also, you know, having exposure to national teams environment, seeing the impact that going from NPL 3 to playing at international level, it's not the most ideal situation because you can't replicate that level of intensity, that level of quality in terms of, you know, technical, tactical understanding. So absolutely, the ambition is to push for promotion. It's going to be difficult because, as you said, there's a number of teams that they're all wanting the same thing. But you know, we put our faith in our program and the quality of the players that we have, and we believe that that's possible, and hopefully we'll get there. But I think there's always that balance, and I can understand that decision-making process may be difficult, but you know, we hang our hat on the quality of the environment that we provide our players, even though that we're in NPL 3. We make sure that we provide a lot of opportunities for our players to play friendlies against NPL 1 opposition. Yeah. So we have a really strong games program that makes sure that, you know, we're giving our players a really well-rounded experience and exposure to different types of opponents, different types of playing styles, different types of conditions, all that sort of stuff. So hopefully we'll get there. We'll get there.
We brought up the young Socceroos as you were sort of talking there, and obviously that's an environment that you yourself are quite familiar with, having previously been a coach with the young Socceroos. Is that something that in your coaching practice, looking ahead, that kind of environment, you have a detailed knowledge of it and what's required, something that you'll bring in and sort of use to incentivize, you know, alongside senior football for Western United, obviously, to incentivize and motivate these young players that you've got coming through? Yeah,
I think having exposure to that sort of setup has given me a really clear understanding about, you know, what's expected of and the level of player that we should be aiming to produce. So, it's not just what happens on the park as well. I've mentioned it before. It's all the support around the program as well. So if we truly want to provide an elite level academy, then all of the video analysis, all of the preparation, all of the integrated sports science, medical, physio, all of that sort of stuff that goes along with it is super important to give your players the best opportunity to, you know, go to the highest level. So I think, obviously I'm thankful for those experiences and looking forward to embedding some of those things that I've seen and done into the Western United program.
Well, like the A-League, as we know, is a super long off season. The NPL is much the same. But the thing we know about both of them is they do roll around so quickly. So obviously there's no games for you at the moment with that under-23 side. But I think the three of us all know, as commentators, as a coach, it will be at your doorstep. By the time that summer's over, it'll just come like that. What are those weekends going to look like for you? Because obviously you are the head coach of the under-23s, but you're overseeing this whole academy. I imagine that weekends for you, once we get into February and March, are just going to be one constant sort of just motorcade of you driving around to different juniors games. You must be looking forward to it, though.
Oh, look, when we've got 6 teams representing, or well, 7 teams if you count the A-League, representing Western United, that's pretty special. And again, all trying to play in a particular way, and players obviously expressing themselves and trying to be the best player they can be. You know, that's game day is where you want to be, but absolutely it can be difficult to be everywhere in one place. But I think for me, my role will probably evolve after the 2022 season. So I think if I'm going to, do the role of the academy director justice, I can't necessarily take on that coaching position full time and with the 23. So that's a potential one that I'll need to drop and just have full focus on making sure that we roll out those 16s and provide not just the players support, but make sure that we provide the coaches and the staff around the program support too. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. It might be, my afternoons might be, or my weekends might be shot, but that's what I love doing. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, so you just revealed it's the Ralph Ranier trajectory. So coach next season and then rising up into the director role. Anthony, we're running out of time, so we better leave it there. But all the best for your task ahead. And I imagine you'll be holding some tryouts for those NPL squads you're adding?
Yeah, so we're currently doing some trials at the moment, and we hope to have our squad secured by the end of the year. So obviously, the great work that was done to get the two teams up and running the previous year, obviously a lot of work, and obviously successfully done. But we continue to evolve and develop and improve our program, and going through that process at the moment. But as I said, I think. Try and get down to City Vista on game day, and you'll see the quality of the talent that's coming through, and hopefully progressing into the first team down the track. So it's there's that word again. It's exciting.
Excitement is reaching peak levels here on the Green Room. Anthony Frost, thank you so much for your time. Great to meet you, and best of luck for your new role.
You too, guys. Thanks very much. Enjoy the chat.
And with that brings the Green Room to an end for another week. But first, got to plug the game. Western United versus Brisbane Roar on Saturday. That is at GMHBA Stadium in Geelong, 5:05 p.m. kickoff. And given the club has just smashed its membership record, there's no better time to jump on board the bandwagon, Lachie.
Yeah, absolutely. Hop on board.
All right. Well,
it is a tight bandwagon there. There is 8,000.
Yeah, it's running out of room, but
I'm sure we can find a few more seats.
Yeah, get in while you still can. We'll sign off for the week. Thank you all for tuning in, and make sure you see us next time, same time next week on FNR.
Western United, can they find something here? Big chance, Barisha! He's done it again! And it's a goal! Unbelievable! What about this? Dylan Barrios, his first touch of the game. Sanchez! Western United do claim the 3 points. And Diamante again! Oh, he's done it! Twice! He's chipped a keeper!
Presented by Simonds. It's the Green Room on FNR. Football Nation Radio.
Since 1998,